Hey y'all, so before this video starts, I do want to give some context. So I'm interviewing a raw vegan, Jack. He's been on the fruitarian diet for 7 months. Now, while I do not agree with his diet whatsoever, this guy is very intelligent. This is the smartest vegan I've ever met, to be honest. There are some things he believes in that I do think are a little bit out there, but either way, we had a great conversation, and this guy is very intelligent. So enjoy. Hey y'all, welcome back. Today, I'm joined with Jack. I know you don't like being called a raw vegan. Would you prefer if I called you a raw fruitarian or a raw vegan?
No, you can call me. I just don't like being called a vegan. Raw vegan is cool though.
Okay. So, yeah. Listen, we are both on two different sides of the same coin, I think. We both like raw foods, but I like my raw chicken, my raw eggs. You like raw salad, raw fruit. I think you mostly eat fruit. Like 90%.
Yeah, I eat like... Mm-hmm.
You told me you were going to eat a whole watermelon today, but you swapped to a salad. What's up with that?
Oh, I'm going to eat the watermelon still. I just wanted a salad. But I don't, like, I don't know if you know, but I used to do primaldiet too, like 2 years ago. I did it before it was like a trend on the internet. I was like an OG one. Oh yeah, no, I've been doing this almost 4 years, and I have noticed it has become a bit of a trend in the last 2 years or so, especially with the rise of like Oscarvore and Mayo. If you know who those people are, Gavin Mayo. Dude, I like have conversations with Gavin a lot in my DMs. Yeah, we talk about just like conspiracies and stuff. Oh yeah, but I do want to mention this guy, Jack. He's in a bunch of our Primal group chats. Listen, a ton of this guy's followers are people on the Primal diet, which kind of blew my mind. Like, I see every Primal dieter I know likes this guy's posts, because you know a lot about, about the jab, you know about a lot of shit. Yeah, I'm very into like esoteric occult information. That's like my favorite thing. Like, I do so much. I've been so into ancient, like, covered up history for so long, and ancient technology, and just like the truth about human origins that we aren't told in school. And it kind of is what led to me doing all this. How do you feel about the wave of primal dieters who've been drinking salt water? You've heard of this, right? I think that I think it's important to get salt in, but there's other ways of doing it than drinking it. So the best way of actually getting salt in your body is just by going in the ocean and getting your skin in the salt water, because your skin absorbs everything that's around it. And there's more than just salt in the ocean water. Oh, yeah. So everybody's always talking about all these like foods, like what minerals you're gonna get from foods and whatnot. But there's other ways of getting minerals into your body. The best way, the least detrimental way to your body, is by breathing. So let's say you're somewhere heavy in foliage, you're breathing in much higher quality air with more minerals and more good stuff than if you were somewhere with petroleum-based fuel cars everywhere and you're breathing in all these toxic chemicals. And you also absorb nutrients through your skin based off what you're touching. Like, sometimes I'll go outside and I'll just get mud and I'll just rub it all over me, all over my skin. And it's really good. It's good for your skin. It's exfoliating. It's everything. What you're saying about the skin is real true, because I was going to mention, like, we all know about polyester. I think polyester fabric is significantly more harmful than like drinking out of water bottles, because your skin eats up whatever it's touching. If you're wearing polyester fabrics, your skin's eating up the plastic that your clothing is made out of, pretty much. Yeah, I just sold all my polyester clothes on Depop. Yeah, I've been through that too. I just ordered this though. I don't know if you've seen Lord of the Rings, but I'm dressed. Oh like yeah, listen, I did a podcast with oh shit. That's crazy, dude. We're having a little technical difficulty. We're back. Yeah. No, yeah, I have a buddy that put me on Lord of the Rings. I did a whole podcast yesterday, and we talked about it for like half an hour. You might be interested in watching that. But yeah, we talked about Lord of the Rings. I've only seen the first movie. I think it's a timeless movie. I mean, pretty much everyone can relate to it. And I hope you don't take this as disrespectful, but you do kind of look a little bit like a hobbit. Why do you think I'm dressed like this? Yeah. Literally everybody I've ever met says, you look like Elijah Wood, bro. Have you seen Lord of the Rings? It's like, I just accepted it at this point. Yeah, I don't blame you. But going back, I did want to talk about the fact that you said
we can live on air alone. You said if we were healthier, we can live on oxygen alone. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the world at the current moment, there's only a certain few places where that is available. So you can't be somewhere like where we are right now with gasoline in the air and whatnot. So, but there are people who, like in monasteries in Tibet and whatnot, you're not even allowed to go up there. The way that they work is if you go into the monastery, they literally don't let you leave. Like you're not allowed to. But there's this one guy, I forget his name. There was a lot of research on him, and he came down, and like people watched him for days, even months, and he completely survived without anything.
And these are like the monks on top of those very tall mountains.
Yeah, they're just very efficient at breathing because that's your body's true fuel source. It's like you could go so long without eating or water, but you could only go a few minutes without air.
Right.
It's the truest way of gathering energy. Every time you eat something, it hinders you. Even fruit, it hinders you in some way. So to increase the amount that you are pulling in energy from just everything. You're getting energy from everything. It's not just air. You get energy, like some people get energy from specific noises. Like I do that a lot. There's some noises that really like mess me up. Like I can't go to concerts or anything because the loud speakers, they physically hurt my body. I could like feel it in my teeth and whatnot. But if I go to like a church or something and they play, I forget what the instrument is. It's like all these brass tubes, and they play it in the church, and it sounds really nice. And I could almost like feel it in my body. So there's certain sounds that are also capable of giving you energy, and your actions give you energy. Your thoughts give you energy. Like it's the difference between materialism, like believing that in only material ways of getting things, and there's non-physical ways of gathering energy. Because there's energy everywhere. Everything is just made of energy that's condensed into solid matter.
Yeah, everything is energy, but I do think that's a pretty gross oversimplification of things. But I did want to mention something I saw was interesting on your page. You're very aware of a vegan, of like the problems other vegans have. Because, for example, I want to mention there's this guy called Bryce Andrews. I made a video on him. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but it's this very malnourished, underdeveloped 25.
I know. I watched that video. Yeah.
So my question is, what is he doing wrong as a vegan? Like, is it the fact that he eats cooked?
He's eating processed food. He's eating friggin' Beyond Burgers and soy and whatnot. It's bull crap. It's processed food. You're better off eating meat, for real. It's fake. It's not real.
I did also want to ask about another post. I'll put it up on screen right now. It was like food of the gods, food of the kings, food of the peasants, and for like food of the kings, you put like lobster and rice. And I was pretty surprised that a vegan would put meat on like a higher tier than grains, for example, because
meat is better than grains. Grains are bad, but like I'm also like I kind of rage bait on my post a lot. So like the only thing I cared about was that fruit was at the top. Whatever the order of the other ones it didn't matter to me.
Okay.
I just wanted to have the point of fruit is goated with a sauce.
Okay. You tried raw meat about 2 years ago. When it came to digestion, I mean, did you have any problems with it? Like, why'd you stop eating meat? Was it an ethical thing, or was it purely health, or is it a mixture of ethical and health?
I'll explain the whole story right now. So,
sure.
I first went primal because I was a big believer in believing like how your ancestors ate, and like I'm a Nordic, of course, so I was like, oh, I need raw milk or raw meat and whatnot because I'm a Viking and everything. And so I did that, and I felt fine. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I felt good. I still feel good now. Like, it's solid. But as I got more into my spiritual aspect and spirituality, and I studied esotericism, I realized that it's literally a made up lie. Like, the idea that people were running around, like, the word primal is a psyop. Like, people running around with sticks and spears and like hunting animals and like being like cavemen, it literally never happened. It's the exact opposite, actually. Like, they want you to believe that this is the best it's ever been to be a human. This is the longest our lifespans have ever been. This is the best technology we've ever had. When it's literally the opposite. This is the lowest humanity has ever been. This is the lowest vibrational humanity has ever been ever. And the ancients had extremely advanced technology worldwide, absolutely everywhere. And there's evidence of it everywhere. Old World, Atlantis, Antarctica. It's absolutely everywhere. You could see the buildings everywhere. They say that some of them, where they would make grand structures in the span of 2 years for an event that lasts 3 days, even though we can't even recreate those buildings today. It took them it took them 4 years to build an auditorium at my high school, and they claimed that almost the entire Chicago World Fair was built in 2 years with horses and buggies for a 3-day event. Yeah, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Have you seen the World Fairs?
Yeah, I do have something to add to this. So here's the thing. I'm not entirely convinced that our technology was like super advanced, but I do for sure know that there's lost technology and that humans never really went to this hunter-gatherer phase. What I think happened, I'm a Catholic. I believe in the creation. I don't think Earth is older than maybe 10,000 years. I think we were put here, and from day one, we were farmers, both raising crops and cattle. I don't think this, idea that we were chasing animals with spear is true. I think that's a little ridiculous. Granted, we do have tribes that still do that, but I can't talk too much about it on YouTube. But if you notice those tribes, they all have something in common that I won't mention.
I don't know what that is, but I'll figure it out eventually.
I'll tell you what, we both have that thing in common, and those people don't. Hey.
I get it.
So, hey. But yeah, one more thing to mention. The reason I brought up the salt drinking thing is because I know one guy that drinks this salt stuff, and he says some things that I personally think are batshit insane. He says things like giants built the White House, and that You believe in that?
Yes. Yeah, they built the entirety of ancient America. Yeah, I even went to an event.
Tell me about it. So I think it's crazy, but go ahead.
I went to an event in Serpent Mounds, Ohio, and I got invited to this because I like hang around these people, and I'm not going to say any of their names because like people can actually get like messed up for this. But in Serpent Mounds, Ohio, I went to an event and I met a Hopi elder. Like, you know what Hopi natives are?
I don't. Are they Native Americans?
Yeah, Native Americans. I met a Hopi elder, an Aztec elder from down in Mexico, and there's another Native American elder. But yeah, he was there too. But the Hopi elder, I was asking them about giants, and he showed me a picture of him next to this skeleton, and this guy was about the same height as me, and I'm 6'1", okay? And this skeleton had to have been at least like 4 feet taller than him. Like, it was gigantic. And you could find all these old newspaper articles everywhere. They even have stories. All Native Americans have stories about a race of giants that lived here in America that was once with them. They were notorious for being hairy and having red hair. That's a very specific trait of them. And according to Native Americans, they started off as very peaceful and friendly, and they fell in dignity and went down all the way to cannibalism. That's the story of Native American giants. And you could find, like, I also talked to another guy at Serpent Mounds. He worked for the Smithsonian Museum, and he used to work for the Smithsonian Museum, and he eventually quit his job because he got so sick of other people who worked for the Smithsonian going over there when they found giant skeletons and taking them away and like never doing anything.
So he's like a whistleblower.
They come there. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to say his name, but he used to work for the Smithsonian, and he doesn't anymore. And he told me that's why he quit, because he was so sick of this evidence being covered up. And there's a lot of stories of that happening. If you look at these old newspaper articles from the late 18th century to the early 19th century, you could find all these articles of giant skeletons 8-9 feet tall found here in America in these giant mounds, and there's hundreds of these articles. They're everywhere, and you look anywhere in the entire world, and there's always stories of giants everywhere. And also, if you look like at these old buildings like the White House, you'll see that the doors and the steps, they're made for giant people. Like the doorways are gigantic. They're like 30 feet tall, and the steps, they're gigantic too. Like they had to put steps on the steps because you can't just normally walk up them.
Okay, but these giants are like 10 feet tall, more or less?
It varies. The very first ones could be absolutely gigantic. I'd say it could be hundreds of feet tall.
Because when I think of giant, I think like 50, 100 feet tall, you know, like Attack on Titan kind of, you know.
The very first giants back in Atlantean times, like for over 12,000 years ago, those were here. But the more recent ones in the past, like thousands of years, that I'd more in the 9 to 15 foot range.
Okay.
Because they can't grow as tall because we've messed up the air, the environment. We have harmful frequencies everywhere, and it's just the lower vibrational that our world gets as a whole, the smaller everything gets.
Mm-hmm. I am inclined to agree, because I'm not sure if you were taught this in school, but in like, you know, the class where they teach you evolution and stuff like that, they used to say back in the day, before humans even existed on Earth, the oxygen level was like higher or something like that, and because of that, animals would grow much larger, and that's why we had like the megalodon, like the 70-foot long shark, you know, which nowadays that seems ridiculous, a 70-foot long shark, but modern day science, they like to mix truth with delusion.
Modern day science is religion.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a religion based off materialism.
I say this myself too, because I say when people read scientific studies, it's the same idea as reading religious texts. It's the same idea as reading the Quran or the Torah. It's all man-made symbols that tell you something without any proof. So I absolutely agree that science is a modern religion, but like I've mentioned, I'm sure you've noticed this, people like to mix in a little bit of truth with delusion.
Oh, yeah. To create confusion. You have to put in a little bit so that you don't know who's trustworthy and what's not. Because, like, he said one thing that's right, but then he says something else. So how do you know? Now, it's called a, what's it called? It's called controlled opposition.
Yeah, controlled opposition. I think there's a lot of people. I think in every group of this world, in primal dieters and vegans, there's controlled opposition everywhere. There's people that are paid to be actors. I definitely believe in this stuff, 100%.
Well, there's also people who there's one evil consciousness, that there's people who are born without a conscious soul in their body, and this one, the demiurge, an evil deity, Saturn, basically a physical incarnation of the planet Saturn, it has the ability to like go into the minds of these people and control them like a hive mind, because they're not actually people. They don't have a soul. There's no soul resting in their pineal gland. There's nothing there. So it's like an empty vessel that's able to be entered, because that's what your body is. You aren't your body. Your body is an organic machine that is made to carry the vessel of your soul.
Absolutely. What about animals? Do you think animals have souls?
Yeah.
You think so? I personally don't. I don't think animals have souls.
They don't have human souls, but they have souls on some level. So, and it's a journey of the soul. As your soul evolves, you go up in these conscious levels. So it's like all souls keep going up the path of ascension upwards.
So maybe you think animals go somewhere after they die, just like us, but not the same place? Is that what I'm getting?
They reincarnate.
Oh, they reincarnate, but humans don't reincarnate?
Humans will reincarnate unless they achieve liberation from the desires of their flesh.
That sounds like Buddhism, if I'm incorrect. Am I right about that?
Kind of, but it's kind of what all religions teach worldwide. Like if you look at what Jesus says, he tells you practice fasting, practice celibacy, practice not being prideful, practice not going against the desires of your material body. And that's what the Buddha preaches. He says, don't do these material things. They may feel good in the short term, but in the long term, they're detrimental to their soul. And that's what almost all religions worldwide say. They say, just be a loving person and do not fall for the trick, the illusion, and the desires of your flesh, because they won't fulfill you.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's any reason to practice any modern religions? Because some people I know, I personally don't like this opinion, but they're like, oh, all religions were created by the little hat people. Christianity's evil. Do you think like a Christian, like a modern day Catholic, do you think they're in the wrong for being a Catholic, or do you think there's any benefits to being a religious person, or you think it's all a psyop?
It depends if you actually follow it or not. So let's say you actually follow what Jesus says to do, and you do practice the fasting, and you do practice the celibacy, and you do practice just all the things, basically liberation from flesh. You're gonna reap the benefits because you practice. The people who there's two different types of religious people. There's people who go upon based off belief alone, and there's the actual practitioners.
Right.
And the actual practitioners are the ones who actually get benefits off of religion. Because there's other ones who are just like, oh, it's just your belief that's all that matters. And it's
right.
like, it's just, you're kind of just cheating yourself at that point.
There's definitely some people that use religion to justify evil things, but I think it mostly comes with Islam and Judaism. I think both of those religions are kind of inherently problematic, but I think that's a topic for another day. I can't. What's up?
I can't talk about that. I've literally got banned.
Yeah. That's why I say it's a topic for another day, man.
Yeah. Giants built the White House, basically. Yeah. Okay.
We could go back to the raw food thing real quick. So the reason I think raw food is healthier than cooked food is I have a way of looking at it that is not as simplistic as other people. Other people are like, oh, there's less nutrients in cooked food. I think when you cook a food, its structure is completely changed. It's beyond it being destroyed. I mean, you completely change the molecules. So here, I'll give you an example. Have you heard of iron overload in carnivore dieters?
No.
So there's this thing going around that people who are on the carnivore diet for a while, their livers shut down from too much iron. And the reason I think that happens is because they're cooking the meat and it changes the structure of the iron to a form that can't be removed by the body. But if you consume it raw, you won't have any problem. The body can excrete it. So I think cooked foods are just completely unnatural, completely foreign to us. It's deeper than just, oh, the nutrients are destroyed. I think it's way deeper than that. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think I think cooking's a psyop. You destroy the nutrients. So they convinced you that, oh, we found cooking and we started cooking our food and it made our brains bigger to make you stupid. That's what they do. Let
me tell you an Aajonus theory. So Aajonus says that our brains actually did get bigger from cooked food, but it's because when you cook fat, the fat gets swollen. What do you think of that theory?
I don't even know what that even frickin' means for real.
You don't know?
Like everybody's like, talk to me about this, or like fat and protein and all these minerals. Like I don't care about any of that stuff. It's all under the word science for me.
Oh yeah? Where'd you get the term science from?
Like people, like I saw people trying to prove like soy is good for you, and then I saw other people, because it's obviously not, and I saw other people being like, bro, this is science, and I was like, yo, all science is just science, because it's just propaganda.
Oh, I mentioned that because I know a little someone who also says that word, so I was wondering if you got it from him. But anyways, why do you think soy is inherently worse than other plant foods? I mean, aren't they kind of created equal?
It's a seed.
It's a seed? So you got problems with seeds?
Well, just the only thing a plant wants you to eat is fruit, because it doesn't want you to eat its seed because you're eating its kids. Right. It's like eating a chicken's eggs, like you're just eating its babies. Like, but it wants you to eat the fruit because you are spreading the seed and then helping the seed grow. So you're helping its babies. Okay,
I definitely agree with that. I personally think there's a certain way to consume nuts. I'm not sure if you've seen my nut formula recipe. I think that's a good way to consume nuts, but whole nuts, definitely not something to consume with the anti-nutrients and the phytoestrogens in them. But one thing I do want... Sorry?
I definitely stop I do eat like very few amounts. Like I still will eat like nuts and seeds, just like very few amounts. Like I use seeds to make like I make like dressing and stuff, and I use them as like a base and whatnot.
Right. That's
But, like,
basically
I
what the nut formula is. It might as well be like a nut dressing.
Have you made nut milk?
I haven't. I don't really know how though. Like, because nuts are dry. I've never seen a moist nut. I don't know how you'd make nut milk.
So you leave the nuts in water overnight, and you let them soak, and you blend them up, and you put that through a sifter.
Okay. I see.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only nut milk I'd be willing to try is coconut milk, because I think coconuts overall are the best nut, because they're kind of like a fruit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, dude, I'm really, this has actually been something I'm thinking about recently. I don't know if coconuts are nuts or fruit, because fruit, like when you eat a coconut, it's not going to grow into a tree no more. But the fruit, you eat it and the seed's still going to grow into a tree. So coconut, it's classified as a fruit, but I do believe it is a nut.
I think it's more like a nut for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is though, like the coconut water is sweet, and usually it's only fruit that's sweet. So I don't know what's up with that.
It depends on the coconut. Sometimes it can taste like salty.
I have noticed that because I have Florida coconuts that grow outside. I wouldn't say salty, but there's definitely one that just tastes straight up like water. There's no sweetness to it. It's just straight water. I do want to mention, so since you're eating a salad right now, what are the benefits to eating leafy greens, or is it just a flavor thing for you?
Honestly, I like to eat them before I work out because they give me a ton of energy. And I don't know why. I have a theory as to why, but they just do.
Do you think it could be the iron?
I think it's stored sunlight, because that's what leaves do. They gather sunlight into them, and they store it in their chlorophyll. So when you're eating leaves, you're eating straight sunlight energy. It's powering you.
Okay, that's an interesting theory. I think I'm running out of topics, man. This is going to be a short interview for sure.
Yeah, I don't got much to say. Like, the whole reason as to why I eat like this is because I think that history is a lie, and we have the fall of humanity from breatharianism, fruitarianism, veganism, vegetarianism, carnivorism, and then we have the world elites, the materialists who worship the 3D construct, commit cannibalism.
So you think cannibalism is wrong?
Yeah, cannibalism is definitely wrong. Actually, hold on. There are situations like, have you ever heard the story of that soccer team that got in a plane crash and they got like stranded in the mountains and they had to resort to cannibalism? That would be a situation where I view it as okay.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't go out looking for human meat, but if I was given the ability to try it, I mean, like, who am I hurting? If this person's been dead, hey, I'll try it. I don't think it's inherently wrong, but I wouldn't go looking for human meat. However, humans today are toxic as hell. You don't want to be eating human meat. I mean, our bodies are full of heavy metals and things like that. But I really don't think it's too serious.
So another reason as to why I stopped eating meat is because every time you eat something, you absorb a bit of its desires. And so when you eat an animal, animals tend to only think about sex and food. So when you eat them, it makes you more horny and it makes you gluttonous. It makes you want to eat more. And it's not a game changer, but it definitely hinders your ability to resist flesh desires.
That's actually a great thing to bring up. So I don't agree with that, but there is something I noticed. Back in the day, I used to work at a fast food place when I was eating raw, and sometimes they'd bring over food. So I was like, yo, why don't you bring me a raw patty from Wendy's and I'll eat it? And I decided to do that. And as you know, the patties in Wendy's, I mean, they come from the factory farm tortured cows.
That's crazy, bro.
Right?
A raw patty from Wendy's is nuts.
The only reason I did it, you might think I'm crazy for this, but the beef at Wendy's is fresh, never frozen. So, hey, that's why I wanted it. So I ate it, and that same night, I got nightmares. And for some reason, I thought it might have been related to the beef patty, so I did an experiment. I went to Walmart and I bought grain-fed beef, and I ate it. Same thing, I got nightmares that same night from eating the factory farm meat.
You absorb the trauma of the animals. I mean, it transferred to you.
Yeah.
So you absorb. Hold on.
Don't worry.
You absorb their essence, basically.
Right.
It goes into you, and that trauma goes into you, that fear, and it causes nightmares.
I talk to people about the risk of adrenaline toxicity from eating too much red meat, and I think that fear or that problem is definitely bigger in the factory farm animals, because I think the animals have some kind of adrenaline rush before they die, and that adrenaline soaks into the meat, which, you know, in turn leads to adrenaline problems. Because I'm not sure if you know this, but adrenaline is pretty much inherently neurotoxic. Like, you don't want adrenaline running through your body whatsoever. I'm not sure if you know
because adrenaline is caused by fear, and that's how they control people, through fear. Fear is the emotion that blocks your first chakra, your very bottom one. The first emotion you must conquer on the spiritual pathway of rising your kundalini energy up your spine to your pineal gland is defeating fear. Is the first one. Is the first emotion you must defeat. It's when people are in fear, they're easily controlled. So like that's what they're doing now, is they're making all these war things like this Iran Israel stuff, and all, they're putting it all over the media, and they're making people scared. And this fear, everyone sees it worldwide, and it manifests. You know, the manifestation of the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So like all humanity, if all humanity is in this state of fear, worrying about World War III and all this stuff, it'll come, because it's a manifestation of our collective conscious. And that's one of the big reasons. That's another thing. That's why eating, like, I know I don't eat meat, but why eating good raised meat is important, because you absorb everything from that animal. So you eat the farm raised one, you're absorbing that fear. It's going to keep you in a state of fear. It's going to make you easily controlled and manipulated.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So I was going to ask you earlier about the ethical thing. So I'm against factory farming. I think anyone that eats meat should be against factory farming. But have you heard, I say this myself, have you heard the theory that eating almonds and avocados and things like this actually kill more animals than if you were just raise a cow on a farm? You've heard of this, huh?
Yeah. I don't think it's true.
You don't think so? Do you think it's just misinformation, a lie, or?
I just don't understand. Like, how does that make sense? Because you have to get so much. You have to feed the cow a ton of plants in the first place. Which
if the cow's grazing on grass, you don't have to feed it anything. Granted, the cow might eat bugs, but here's the thing with the vegan aspect. Let's say you're going to grow corn and soy. Obviously, you're against corn and soy, but most vegans would happily grow corn and soy. You have to till the soil, which will kill the natural ecosystem, and you have to spray pesticides, which will kill small animals.
I'm not about farming. I'd rather farms like farms of just soil is stupid. All the trees used to have fruit, especially here in America, and they came here and they cut them down and they replanted them with supposed just new trees. And that's the story of Johnny Appleseed, actually. Yeah, because I have heard a theory that they purposely don't let fruit trees grow so that the homeless can't have free food. That's something I've heard. Because there's trees everywhere. It's because they don't want the homeless. They don't want everyone to have free food, because there's trees everywhere. Imagine you walked outside and all the trees you see were how they were supposed to be, and they had fruit. Everyone would have free, infinite food, and they would be like, "Oh no, bro, we can't fucking. They're not dependent on us for food anymore, bro." Like that's the main reason they destroyed them, is because there was an infinitely replenishable source of food already here for all of mankind, and they destroyed it to make us dependent on them for food.
I don't think that theory is completely crazy, because I have heard of a species of tree that essentially went extinct in America because of some kind of disease. It was in a Salmonella video. You ever heard of that guy? Salmonella, the YouTuber? He does little stick figures. Oh, well, he was super big years ago, but he talked about some kind of disease. I believe it was a mold that killed like a shit ton of trees in America, like 2 or 3 million of these trees. And he did the math of how much wood was destroyed from this, and like you could use that wood to like go from here to the sun like 14 times, you know, with the measurements they give us, because I don't really think the sun is a place we can go to, which is actually another good topic to go into. The whole space shit. I think space is nonsense. I think
made up. It's a lie.
Absolutely.
Fake as hell.
I mentioned this in the podcast I did yesterday, but there's a video that's so funny. It's from Richard Nixon. He calls Apollo 11 or whatever they are. Apollo 11 is on the moon, and he calls them on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, I'm talking to you on the moon right now." Like, it's all on YouTube. It's hilarious. Like, it's so funny. They think we're stupid enough to believe that.
Have you seen the video of them being interviewed after the first moon landing mission? Like the 3 dudes at the table, and they're just sitting there, and their faces are flat. And they're just
I have.
It's like, it's how obvious can it be nowadays? But the people are just, they're so indoctrinated by the education system. They hate anything that goes against, because that's when you attach your beliefs to your identity, and then somebody has a different belief, it hurts you because it's your ego.
Absolutely.
And you don't want that. That's why I don't even know. I don't really conform to my beliefs. Like, for instance, right now, I know I do raw veganism, but if I ever start to feel like shit, maybe it stops working, I become skinny, malnourished, then I'll stop. I'm not conformed to it. I'm an experimenter. I'm testing it out, and it's working pretty well, but I'm not conformed to it. It's not part of my identity.
That's absolutely reasonable. There comes a certain age where people become extremely ignorant. I think it's around like 25 or 30. And I think the reason why is because if you tell people that their whole life is a lie, I think it makes them feel embarrassed. It makes them feel like an idiot because they're like, how could I have believed this for so long? So I think it's very hard to change people's minds, because one thing I've actually found, it's easier to convince people that raw meat is good for you than it is to convince them space is fake, because I know a lot of primal dieters that still believe in space, still believe in all that nonsense.
Yeah, it all goes together. Dude, I just choked. But yeah, it all goes together. Like once you start on the journey of just like self-improvement, like I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't start working out when I was like 16. Like it's all just one big connected thing. Like once you start improving yourself and trying to lock in on your health, your mind just opens to the truth about the world, I feel like.
Okay, that's a good topic to bring up. So do you think working out is healthy?
It depends the way that you work out. So
okay,
like certain exercises, especially ones that put a lot of pressure on your spine, like squats are not good for you with a barbell. Like squats, if you're doing a body weight or something, maybe you're holding kettlebells, they're fine. But with the barbell on your back and heavy, like I hurt my back doing that.
Oh yeah,
they're not good for you.
Yeah,
but like the exercises that are good for you are called, like really good for you, are called fascia exercises, if you know what those are.
I've never heard of that.
It's elasticity training. It's not strength training. It's elasticity training. So it's kind of like just like moving like really fast and like stretching out. It's like imagine like chucking like a spear. Like
I know.
It's kind of stuff like that. Just like natural free movement.
I actually know exactly what you're talking about. There's this program, I don't remember the name of it, but it's essentially this kind of workout program that these people use to fix their like posture problems, where they do the same thing. They'll get like a weighted thing and they'll move it like, they'll go like that. It's very atypical.
Yeah, but
workouts.
just like swing it around and stuff.
Right.
And it's literally elasticity training. It's making you're becoming more flexible. Your body is like, it's like a rubber band. And like,
absolutely.
You know how like when you first get a rubber band, it's like it's harder to pull apart, but the more and more you use it, it becomes more and more stretchy. That's you. You want to keep moving and using your body and become more and more stretchy and elastic.
I actually received physical therapy when I was a teenager. I must have been like 13 years old, barely even a teenager. I was more like a kid. But I was diagnosed with scoliosis. I think it was a misdiagnosis. But basically they gave me this elasticity physical therapy where I would do the same shit. I'd raise my hand like that, and for my legs, like they specifically for my legs, they really wanted me to increase my hamstring length. And I will tell you, even though I wasn't eating any special diets, I do think that physical therapy helped for sure. So, but here's the thing, I would barely even call that working out, to be honest.
Dude, I thought I had back problems too, and it turns out I have an extra vertebrae in my spine.
Oh yeah, how does that happen? Is that like a mutation?
It's a thing. It's not it's uncommon, but it's not like super uncommon. So like most people have 33, I have 34 apparently. I guess that's the reason. If you ever see me like in my videos, I kind of pull my pants up really high because my torso is like ridiculously long. Like the distance between the tip of my, like around my penis to my belly button is longer than the distance between my belly button to like the middle of my chest. Like
I never realized that.
It's like really, like my legs are like, the majority of my height is in my upper portion of my body. My legs are shorter. Like my spine is like very just long. I just have a long torso. Torso build.
That's understandable. I kind of have it too, but I think it's just because I was raised on soy formula and I came out a little bit disproportionate. Because I'm 6'2", and I'm definitely built a little bit weird. I'm a little lanky for sure, but I weigh a lot more than you'd expect. I know you can't really see because I'm in the webcam and you can't see my whole body, but I weigh almost 200 pounds and I look pretty thin. So how about you? How much do you weigh?
Dude, right now, how much you want to guess I weigh?
At 6,
what do you think?
At 6'1", I think
6'1" right now.
I think you're around 200. That's what I think. A little lower.
No, you would never guess, bro.
For real?
Right now, I'm 162 pounds.
162?
Yes.
That's pretty shocking. I'll tell you what.
I swear, it's because, I'll tell you why. It's because after so I don't know if I did like a big juice fast. I did 36 days of juice, 3 days of water, and then the last day I had nothing. So it was 40 days of fasting. Okay. And I took psyllium husk and I took stuff. It's because that most people are walking around with like 10 to 15 pounds of shit in their stomach. And it's like pent up and just sitting there. And you eat food and you push out the shit that's all the way at the end. It's just like a column. But when I did that, I got all of it out and I completely flushed out my stomach. And that's why I'm surprisingly light for how big I look.
Well, on Primal, we do have something we say. So something we've experienced, especially through Aajonus, is you can put on a lot of weight on this diet and not look the part. Like you'll be 200 pounds, but you kind of look like you're 160. So I'm guessing you'd explain this by saying we're just backed up. We're full of shit, basically.
Well, you're just like getting a bit fat too. Not like super fat, but there's fat that you gain that you can't see.
Well, we explain it by saying when you cook a fat, it becomes swollen, it gets larger. But when you're eating a raw foods diet with a lot of raw fat, the fat you can't really see it because the molecules are much smaller. But I know you're not really too into this. We really care about nutrients and fat and protein ratios in the Primal diet. It seems like you kind of just intuitively eat, huh?
Yeah, I think, I just think it's obvious. I really just think it's obvious. You're outside and you're just like, there's this bright thing on a tree and it falls to the ground and starts smelling good. It's like, bro, come eat me, man.
Yeah, I did want to indulge you a little bit. I didn't bring it up earlier, but I have a little bit of unripe pineapple. This is one thing I do want to mention. Aajonus and me, we both are proponents of unripe fruit. We think if you're going to eat fruit, it shouldn't be ripe. You think we're tweaking for that, or you think it's reasonable?
What's the reason for it?
We think there's more enzymes and less sugar.
Now listen, for modern fruit, that actually might be right because they've messed up the ratio of fiber to sugar. Like they've bred them so much to make them have more sugar than fiber. So that could actually be valid for modern fruit, but for actual wild, like whatever fruit, like if you were going to go in the wild, you'd want it ripe.
Right.
And
so we do think that there is more fiber in unripe fruit, but we also think the fiber in fruit is good for you. But we think the fiber in vegetable is inherently harmful.
Yeah.
You're in agreement with that part. I think it's pretty surprising that Aajonus has a lot of like vegan-ish things that a lot of people don't like. Like the people who listen to Sfarage, I'm sure you've heard of that guy, right?
No.
You never heard Sfarage Goatis, the guy who talks like he's like
the blonde dude, he's like in his like 30s. Yeah, and he's like if you're not eating raw meat, you're mentally ill.
Yeah, you're mentally ill. He's hella I don't like that guy because I see him as like a plague, dude, because he just spreads these terrible ideologies around. Like he overemphasizes the importance of blood and things like this. But anyways, this guy is super anti-vegetable, super anti-fruit. Aajonus, the guy I follow, wasn't exactly anti-fruit, anti-vegetable. He obviously said to avoid vegetables, but you could have them here and there. Like you can have salads. But because of this, people don't like hearing that Aajonus promotes vegetable juice and unripe fruit. But let me ask you about the vegetable juice. So Aajonus says on a daily basis, you should be drinking at least 8 ounces of cold-pressed celery juice. What do you think of that?
I like celery juice. It's pretty good. I mean, because you're removing the harmful fiber from the vegetable by juicing it. Then you get the structured water.
Absolutely.
I think that's valid.
People say some crazy shit, man. Like people say celery juice will make you allergic to the sun. Like some crazy shit, dude. I really think Paul Saladino, if you know who that guy is.
Yeah.
Paul Saladino alongside Goatis, they both have put the fear of God into people about vegetables. They're deathly afraid. They don't want anything to do with it. And what I say is like, do you think these diseases, do you really think the reason why you're fucked up is because you ate like 3 vegetables as a kid? Come on. Because nobody ate vegetables growing up. Like these people really say these diseases come from vegetables. I think it's crazy.
No, they come from.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's where it starts. Yeah. And then the processed food doesn't help whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and the air, a big one is 5G towers.
Oh yeah. I mean, we literally saw people getting sick the moment they put up those towers.
Yeah. Those are really bad. Those, because I was talking about earlier how sounds can affect people's bodies and like can hurt you or not. And that's what those are. They're playing noises and frequencies that are inaudible to us, but they're really harmful ones and they damage you.
I don't have it anymore, but I had one of those little devices that could read EMF.
I have one of those with me right now.
I have it somewhere in my room, dude, but something really shocking, my mom is developing like straight up like early onset dementia. So I decided with this little device to measure the EMF levels throughout the house. And what do you know? In my mom's room, the EMF level was way higher than any other part of the house. So they're completely fucking us up with this. And you probably even seen this. I mean, there's like news reports of like bees that fly near 5G towers and they all get struck dead by the tower.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You know, I found a solution though. And I thought it was like weird until I tried it. But if you use a crystal, if you get an EMF reader, I got an EMF reader, and you take a crystal and you put it near any of those electronic devices, it completely nullifies it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. There's this necklace people wear. I've been told by somebody else that they're complete bullshit. I personally haven't done any experimenting. I don't know whether.
I don't know about the necklace. I'm talking. Hold on. I'll show you. No, never mind. I can't find it, but I had a crystal.
Well, here's
like
here's the thing.
You want like a quartz crystal.
Imagine if you got that crystal and put it as a necklace. That's essentially what these people are doing. And they say if you wear...
No, that's what I do. I have it as a necklace. I usually have it on 24/7. You could see it on most of my stuff. I have the One Ring on right now. Some Frodo.
Okay, well, I do want to run experiments on that because like I mentioned, I know people that think it's bogus. I have no opinion because I haven't tried it. But something I did used to do, I used to wear silver lined clothing, but like I don't really want silver touching my body, because I don't think you want any metal touching your body generally, because as you know, the skin is a mouth. You consume whatever's touching you, and I don't think consuming silver through your skin is a good idea.
That's and that's something I thought about. I thought about how people say you need all these minerals. I always think about maybe we're supposed to have small amounts of gold and silver in us as well.
You think so?
Because those are both spiritually significant elements. Like, that's why old people, I feel like they used to wear. That's why gold is so expensive, and they'd wear it as like jewelry and stuff and crowns, is because it's absorbing to your skin. It's giving you the side, because the gold is alchemically representative of the sun, and silver is alchemically representative of the moon. So it's just you're absorbing those kind of energies by having them on you.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, I've always heard the opposite. I've seen articles come out. I'm not inclined to believe them because, most science studies are bullshit. But I've seen science studies saying, oh, don't wear gold because it causes this and this. But I'm not too sure. I had another thing I wanted to ask you.
See, that's something that I just don't got to worry about because, like, I can't even afford it. Why would I? I just don't know what's the point. Like, what's the point of wearing it? It's kind of just going to weigh me down. You know what
absolutely.
I mean? I wish I could wear nothing for real. You can't do that here without getting arrested, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think clothing is inherently a bad thing. Like, I mean,
no, it's good. It's good. You do want clothes because
if you go for a jog naked, I mean, your nutsack's going to be swinging everywhere. You can't be having that.
Beings who are above the animal kingdom, like, above them, wear clothes. So
I absolutely agree.
Anunnaki, Pleiades, Orion, Sirius, all higher level conscious beings wear clothes. It's just a representation that you're better than animals.
And this is why going back to the soul thing, this is why I think humans have souls and animals don't, because we're just so above the animal kingdom. If you think about the odds of being human compared to the odds of being literally any other creature on Earth, it's so unbelievably minute. I mean, you literally have like a 0.00001 chance to be human.
Yeah, well, the difference in the souls, so animals have earthbound souls, and our souls are from fifth dimensional consciousness. Well, actually, it could go all the way up to the top, depending on just people in general. There's all different ones that have incarnated, but animals have earthbound souls, so their souls belong to the 3D construct, third dimensional consciousness. But our souls are from a higher one, and we are trapped here and given the illusion that this is the world which we belong to. It's not. This is an impermanent material world, and that's why they talk about defeating the desires of your flesh, because you are not 3D. You're supposed to be your soul belongs to a higher conscious dimension.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think defeating desires is kind of what you need in order to go to that higher state of being after you die, heaven, if you will, because, I mean, you can't expect to walk through the gates of heaven if you're addicted to whatever you're addicted to on this planet. And even then, these addictions, they all promote things that the elites, if you will, want us to do, because if you're addicted to sugar or whatever, you eat the goy slop, if you will, that lowers your state of consciousness. You do whatever, I don't know, you'll make more impulsive purchases. You're part of this system that's harming us.
What is a goy slop?
You've never heard of that before? So goy is a slur used by...
No, I know what goy is. I don't know what goy slop is.
Well, I mean, if you put two and two together, slop, people put nasty food, they call it slop, then you put goy slop. It's supposed to be what the little hat people want to feed us.
I thought there was like a specific food that you were like, it was a specific dish or something.
Generally, people consider goy slop to be like fast food, like McDonald's. That's goy slop. Let me ask you one question. So I personally think the elites don't know about healthy food. So obviously, I think the primal diet is the healthiest diet. I don't think the elites are eating the primal diet. I think they're eating normie food because it makes them feel good. Because I think eating
the elites eat kids.
Oh yeah, I know about this, but here's the thing. Maybe they do it on, for the health benefits or whatever, but I don't think on a day-to-day basis these people really care about their health, because I think they're hedonistic, and I think eating whatever supports hedonism more than being healthy.
Oh, they're the first. Most of them are not people. They look like people, but they're not. And they do it because they're materialists. Like that, they worship the material projection of Saturn, which is the 3D construct that we're in. So that's why they like eat kids and stuff. It's like an act of worshiping the desires of your flesh, because it's like you're doing something horrible just for pleasure.
So you think it's just evil? They just do it for the sake of evil?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think there's any health benefits to like drinking baby blood or anything?
Well, if you're maybe for them, because they're not human beings.
Because there are some people, some celebrities that kind of don't age. It's very surprising. A good one is Keanu Reeves. I'm not sure if you've seen that guy doesn't age at all. It's a John Wick guy. He's like almost he's almost 60 years old. He looks like he's like 29 years old. It's pretty shocking.
I've seen him, definitely.
Well, I think we should start wrapping this up.
This was a good one. I really like talking to you guys because not that many people in my community resonate with me, I feel like.
I do think you're an outsider. Like I've said, I've never ever seen a vegan like you whatsoever. That's why I've said this in the group chat we were talking. I thought you were either trolling or you're lying about the diet, because I've never in my life seen a vegan like you.
Yeah, dude, they just gotta become goated with the sauce.
Yeah, you're always saying that.
How you do? You gotta become 2016 LeBron.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen. It was a nice conversation. I think people will definitely be entertained by this. We don't agree with each other on nutrition, but we agree on a lot of other things. We do agree on one thing.
We kind of do. I just want to say this. You could technically consider me under primal, because primal diet.
You're a vegetarian primal.
Is meat and fruit. So I'm under it. I'm just taking one part away from it.
Yeah.
So it still would be technically, in all technicality.
Right. So, like for example, the Giants thing. I'm still a little on the edge about that. I definitely do believe in Giants. There's this photo.
Dude, listen, I could if you want to do another call, I can make a whole
thing about the Giants.
Because I was gonna do that for a lot of my people anyway, but bro, like Giants, they're everywhere. They built the entire ancient world. They built almost all of the all these old Gothic structures that you see everywhere. They lie about how old they are. Like all these buildings, like the White House, like they say that they were built in the past 200 years or whatnot, or in Victorian times, but they're all thousands of years old. They're all part of an ancient kingdom.
Okay.
Made by giants.
I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind having you back for another time to talk about that, because that's definitely seems like an entertaining topic. But I did want to say one thing we definitely agree on. I think this is a little bit of a corny statement, but raw is law, correct?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Well, hey,
Cooking is a psyop.
Absolutely. Well, hey, listen. That's it for today, y'all. There was an amazing conversation. I love y'all. Goodbye.
I love y'all too.